say the same thing. Check 1 2 3 4. Check 1 2 3 4.
Input and output looks good. Okay. Check 1 2 3 4. Check 1 2 3 4.
Check.
Mine is. Check 1 2 3 4. Yeah, flip it up. Check 1 2 3 4. Check 1 2 3 4. Check 1 2 3 4. Check, check, check. Check, baby. Check, 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 check. 1 2 3 4. This is Tom. Hello. Check, check, check. Check, check. Check, check. Hello. Had that little kid from Alabama.
Yeah.
And then then you also had like Powell at Knoxville.
Mm-hmm.
And you had
Oh, they're loaded this
Northeast,
year. Yeah, Northeast.
Clarksville Academy, and
Golly.
yeah, you had a lot last year. Check, check, check. What was that? check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. Yo 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 yo. Yep. Hello. Hello. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. Can you hear me? Check. Check. Well, that's what we had last week. We call it. Check 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. 1, 1, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Check. Check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cane Ridge.
Okay,
All right. Now, supposedly Cane Ridge is at capacity,
I believe that.
and like they're not open zone right now.
Mm-hmm.
So those kids, they've said those kids will have to stay in Antioch now. Those kids can't come over.
Wow.
So they said that could help them, is what
Yeah.
one person told me. Is what I think their coach was telling me that. Check 1, 2, 3, 4.
Check 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hear me? Did you do anything? Check 1, 2, 3, 4. You got me good? Input and output.
Check.
Technical difficulties. Please stand by. No, that's fine. everyone. Tom Kreager with the Tennessean. Welcome to the Bootleg, a Tennessean high school football live show presented to you by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Special guest tonight is Thomas Porter.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Stratford football coach. The guy that made me look silly last year when I kept predicting them to lose each week in the playoffs, and a 2-win team made it all the way to the semifinals. Welcome and congrats on last year's run and this year's success.
Well, thank you, and thank you for covering our kids and doing a great job here at Tennessee.
First, I want to thank you guys for joining us. No, we were a little bit late, had a couple technical difficulties, but we're ready to go right now. So Coach, let's talk a little bit about your team. First, we got to talk about James Moore. I mean, he's a big back.
Yes, sir.
Running back there. He's got like 18 or 20 total touchdowns.
Yes, sir. 21.
21
Yes,
touchdowns.
sir.
I think he leads Metro in rushing.
Yes, sir.
And probably scoring as well.
Mm-hmm.
What makes him so good?
I mean, this kid's a hard worker. It helps that he's 230 pounds, and he's just a hard worker, and he grinds at practice every single day. Our running back coach, Coach Sanders, does a great drill with them where they start from the 100 and they just take off flying, and they have to sprint 100 to 80, a 60, a 40, and they just work really, really hard. And he's one of the guys that leads our team on and off the field.
How hard is it to give him rest? Because he's such a key cog, and I think he's pretty sure he plays some defense with you.
Mm-hmm.
How hard is it to give him a break when he needs something?
I mean, well, he doesn't want to be taken off the field. He's one of those players that wants to go both ways. If we could let him kick, he would kick as well. But he's a player and he's a gamer. He's a guy who's very competitive. So coming off the field is hard sometimes, but he works really hard for that.
He's a guy that last year broke the school record for rushing yards. So,
yes, sir.
I mean, it's not like he came out of nowhere. We've known about this kid for a while.
Yes, sir. Last year, I mean, as our season started kind of slow, he started kind of slow as well, but then he turned it on in the playoffs as well. So he works really hard. He does a great job, and those yards come in bunches when he's a big guy running downhill.
So you guys go 2-8 last year.
Yes, sir.
Regular season. You get in there in the playoffs. Some knucklehead at the Tennessean writes, nobody with a losing record should be in the playoffs, especially 2-win teams, blah, blah, blah. This guy's an idiot. His name's Kreager, whatever. And then you pour it on.
Yes, sir.
And you get all the way to the semifinals. And you make that trek down to Covington.
Yes, sir. Great program.
Great program. Of course, you come up short there.
Yes, sir.
How does that success, when you did the improbable of being that 2-win team, getting in the playoffs and going that far, how does that carry over to 2019, where you guys are now 5-2, one loss to a really good Pearl Cone team,
yes,
a loss to a really good FRA team that's got one loss?
Yes, sir.
How does that trans into this?
I mean, with last year's success in the playoffs, it just made our seniors this year more hungry. They worked really hard in the weight room in the winter and came out in the summer and pushed themselves even more in the heat. So it made it easier for me because they had that success and they tasted how close they were to the state championship, being in overtime and losing to Covington, which is a great program and played Alcoa close. So they're hungry to get back and work. One thing that we told them last year is that you just got to make the playoffs to get a chance. And hopefully this year we can continue to make that step forward and continue down that road.
You got to think postseason now. There are going to be some coaches that circle Stratford 2-8 last year.
Yeah.
And maybe even you can use that as a motivation of guys of not so much, hey, 2-8, we can still do it. But if you're facing that team that's 2-8 in the playoffs, you can use that as a guys. Remember last year that team called Stratford that made that run? I mean, how much can you use this as motivation and just a reminder for everyone?
I mean, you can't overlook anybody in any game that you play. That's why you lace them up, and that's why you play on Friday nights, and in our case, Thursday night. But for us, I mean, we are just excited about the next game, and that's why I told our kids, it doesn't matter who you're playing, doesn't matter what the stakes are, you should be excited about playing the next game because at any moment it can be taken away.
So, big game Friday night?
Thursday night.
They moved this?
Yeah, they moved to Thursday night.
When did they do that?
A couple weeks ago.
Okay, well, Teal Splay hadn't said that. So Thursday night, which good, that means maybe I can sneak over there.
There you go.
So Thursday night, 7. It's at East Nashville.
Yes, sir.
Which is a big rivalry because you're both real close to each other.
Spitting distance. I mean, maybe 5-minute drive.
I mean, I could maybe hit a driver and get a nice couple bounces and
there you
go from one to the other. So you're 5-2. They're 6-1.
Yes, sir.
They're coming off that 14-0 loss to Pearl. You guys have had such a great success. Just first, talk about the magnitude of this game.
Like I just said, I mean, we don't think it of as the magnitude of the game. It's the next game, so it's important because it's the next one. East is a great football team. They've been great for the past couple of years. Coach Wade has done a great job over there. But for us, I mean, yeah, it is a rivalry, and the city will be out to watch. But it's the next game for us, so that's why we're so excited. That's why we're so passionate about it.
And this is a game that brings, I got to think, those two communities, since you are, like you said, spitting distance aside, driver distance if you're a golfer. You're real close. I mean, you got to think that's a good rivalry game where you're going to see a lot of fans, a lot of people. Hopefully this is a game where people be a good walk-up crowd for. Yeah. I know it's at East, so I mean you're not going to get the gate, but still, it should be a good environment.
Yes, sir. A great football environment, and that's what we love for coaches and that as players when they're down there. And I'm excited for our kids to be able to play in that environment, just because both teams are really good this year, and it should be a great atmosphere for those guys.
So I want to talk a little bit about yourself. You took over early in the season last year.
Yes, sir.
Talk about your background, where you're from, how you got here.
Yes, sir. Originally from North Carolina, grew up there. Went to play college football at Ferrum College in Virginia, and then became a GA at TSU. So I worked with Coach Reed over at TSU for 2 years, and then moved to Ezel Hardin under Coach Craig Campbell, and then moved over to Stratford from there. Got a great opportunity last year. I didn't say I could expect it. It was something that shocked a lot of people, I guess you would say, but I took it head first and ran with it and made the best of it, and kept on pushing those guys. And this year our motto is not satisfied, so we can't be satisfied with last year's success. I just want to keep going and keep getting forward.
When you guys go in the playoffs with that record, did you know that this is a team that could rattle off three wins straight?
I mean, I would be lying if I said if I expected it. I mean, it was one of those things that I knew we had a chance against any team because we had a lot of talented guys last year, a great senior class. But with the way the season was going, with all the ups and downs, I just wanted them to fight and give a good showing.
James Moore, we talked about him.
Yes, sir.
How do you slow him down? If you're Coach Wade, how do you slow him? What's the
no secrets over here.
But I mean, he's such a big back, and he's got a little speed, and but he's so important. How do you keep teams from lining up 9-10 players in the box and say, okay, we're going to make you throw the football?
I mean, teams do that, and honestly, I mean, with us, I mean, we throw the ball a little bit, but we're a run first team, and you got to be committed to tackling for 4 quarters. So I mean, he's not going to get tired. He's not going to slow down. It's cool outside now, so he's in shape. He's
you can see a lot of cramps.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I mean, continually to rep him and get him motivated, and he can catch the ball out the backfield too. So he can do a little bit of everything.
So we talked a lot about James. I want to talk about some other guys.
Yes, sir.
Who are some key offensive guys outside of him?
We have 2 great offensive linemen that are probably going to play in college next year, in Justin House and Dwight Menifee. Those guys are just grinders as well. They work really hard. They're both over 300 benchers and 500 squatters, and they help lead the way up front. But we also got a center who's Diegas Harris, who's a great. Our offensive line does a great job, and Coach Taylor does a great job with those guys. So I mean, it starts up front for us, but then we also got a young receiver in Draquan Gills who's really tearing it up right now.
And then defensively, how do you slow down an East team? That's we might. I mean, I guess the big question is what quarterback's going to play for them because Kwanzi, I think it is. Yeah. He's had a great season in relief of Arande, but I think he's probably due back with that ankle injury. So you could see, who knows what quarterback you might see.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I mean, they're a great team as well. I mean, one of our defensive leaders is Malik Johnson at free safety. He does a great job lining us up, and he gets those guys lined up from the front end all the way to the back, and he just knows that. He knows football really well.
They've got some speed at receivers, and
they do.
Personally, I really like the Demek Starling.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a track athlete. I mean, he can fly.
Yeah.
I mean, how big is a guy like him? That you really got to key on some of their speed.
I mean, I saw him last year at the city track meet, and he can definitely fly. Like, he can go run, and so I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you got to take great angles because you can't beat speed, right? You can't coach speed.
This game right here, I mean, you don't want to hype it up too much, but this is for a home playoff game.
Yes, sir.
This is to put that home jersey on at least one more time.
Yes, sir.
It's for your home crowd. It's for all that. I mean, you don't want to hype it up, but bottom line, this is a big game for positioning.
Oh, for sure.
What do you tell them? How do you?
I mean, once again, and it sounds like a broken record, but it's the next game. So, and that's how we're approaching it. Yes, it is for a home playoff game. Yes, it is for another time for those seniors to put on their home jersey. But at the end of the day, does not make or break our season. We're right at 500 right now. If the season ended or 5 wins, so that means we have a winning season, and that hasn't happened in 4 years at Stratford. So that's a really good deal for us.
And I mean, obviously, we look at who you knocked off. I mean, you beat a Pearl team that beat you guys pretty handily. So it's like,
Yes, sir.
if something happens, I mean, if you find yourself playing a really good team or a Pearl Cone or someone really good in early rounds of the playoffs, it's not like you guys haven't done this before. So that's something that you can't really say. Well, we want to. You can't go in there saying we want to make sure we do not want to play this team in the second round.
Yeah, it wouldn't be us trying to avoid anybody.
Yeah.
We've traveled all year long. We've only had 2 home games so far. We traveled to Chattanooga to play Howard, and they're 6-1. So I mean, we're prepared to travel if we need to, but it's always good to play at home.
How does that happen? That's bad scheduling.
Well, I mean, I wanted to make it like
Okay.
a business trip for our guys.
Okay.
A lot of our guys have the hope and aspirations to play college football, and I wanted to make it as much of a college trip for them as possible.
5-2 this season. Big region game. It's a Thursday night game. I'm going to be in there fixing some files up. That's going up tomorrow. Thanks for the update there. 5-2, 2-1 Stratford at East Nashville. 6-1, 2-1 Region 5-3A. Folks, Pearl I believe, is all but wrapped up first place, but this is for a home playoff game. I really encourage you to go over to East Nashville Thursday night. Big 7 p.m. game. If you're from the Stratford area, put on the orange and the black and head on over. If you're an East Nashville fan, go put on the red and the white and the gray and go over there. And it's a fun, and that's a nice stadium there too.
Yeah,
They've done a
they
good
did
job.
Yes, sir.
So, how do you guys? How does a Thursday night? How does that change your plan? And does it help having been on fall break?
Well, we played on fall break last week, so we didn't really
Okay.
have that bye week like everybody else did. But we just treated our Mondays like a Tuesday practice day.
Okay.
And we competed really hard on Monday and Tuesday,
Uh-huh.
and we'll probably walk through tomorrow and pull off on them and watch a little more film.
You
And
don't
then,
bring them in Sunday for any film or anything like that?
we do as well. We watch
Okay.
film on Sundays, but at the most part, we go really hard on Monday and Tuesday this week. Yes, sir.
Do you typically bring them in on a Sunday, or is that just this week because of the Thursday?
No, we actually watch film on Sundays sporadically throughout
Okay.
the year. Yes, sir.
Is that how much does that pay off to get that out of the way?
I mean, it works really well because it's another day that you get on the field, and it's fun because last year during the playoffs they really bought into it. My wife would make breakfast, and then they would come in and eat and watch film. So they enjoy
What's
it
for
now.
breakfast?
It depends. Probably a casserole though.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
He's Thomas Porter, Stratford football head coach. I welcome you into our office. Thanks
sir.
for joining us. Save me a spot on the sideline. There's a good chance I'm going to try to get over there.
Yes, sir.
Next up, we're going to bring up George Robinson with the Leaf Chronicle. We're going to go over our top 10 games.
Gotcha.
Stick around here, and we'll talk afterward off camera. Again, thanks for coming up. Come on up,
Yes,
George.
sir. Thank you.
Thanks. That was Thomas Porter, Stratford football head coach, on the Bootleg, presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Now, George is back.
I'm ready.
How'd you do last week? I haven't even looked at your predictions. I
I
went
don't-
5
I
and
don't think-
5, folks. That's not a good week for
I
me.
don't think I did very well. I'm beginning to wonder why you keep having me over here.
Because if I go 5 and 5 and you do 4 and 6, that looks good.
Yeah, okay.
The only pick I can remember is the CPA pick.
Yeah, I was off so many times last week. I think I may have tweeted you that I was done making
I know.
predictions.
Well, then we bring him back for one more
Yeah, I
week.
know, and now you got the Stratford coach sitting right here.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So the pressure's
Well,
on.
Coach, we may pick against you. We may pick for you. Nothing personal. You can use this as bulletin board material. Our game of the week.
Yeah, it won't be hard. You'll have it on video, right?
You're gonna have it on video. Hopefully, they don't hold this to us. Game of the week this week. I'm headed down to Franklin. Brentwood 6-1, 3-0 in Region 6A. They can wrap up the top spot in Region 6A with a win here. They play Franklin, big time Williamson County rivalry game. Franklin's 3-4, 1-2. Don't let that record think that this isn't a big game. This is a big rivalry game. This place will be packed. When these two teams face off, you never know who's going to win. I think Brentwood has won the last two. Like I said, there's a big playoff push here for them. I've said this many times. I really like Cade Granzel, over 1,200 yards passing for Brentwood. He finds ways to win games. Franklin is going to ground it out. They got Guy Lipscomb running the football. They got a couple really good young offensive linemen that's getting a lot of FBS looks.
Right.
Defense led by John Kirkpatrick. 47 tackles, 3 sacks. I think those are team highs. And I'm picking Brentwood 27, Franklin 14.
Oh, you were real close to me. I have Brentwood winning 28-14.
Okay.
But like you said, Brentwood, I think their only losses to Henry County, if I'm correct. And
that was 21-14 game, I think.
Yeah, and you mentioned Franklin kind of being better than what their record, indicates. I mean, they've played really, really good competition. I mean, you're looking at Riverdale and Ravenwood and Summit and Indy. That's a really tough schedule already. So, but
just throw all that out when these two teams play.
Right.
It don't matter.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you said, it's a big time Williamson County rivalry. But I think Brentwood comes out on top 28-14.
The game that I'm now putting on my calendar to go to was thinking about Hillsboro at Cane Ridge. I got to be honest with you, Coach. But a game I'm now putting down to go to, Stratford at East Nashville. Of course, we just had Coach Porter on the show. 7 p.m. Thursday night kickoff. Thursday night high school football, folks. Great stuff here. Stratford at East Nashville. This is for second place in Region 5-3A. Coach didn't want to talk about it. This is a huge game, folks, because Pearl Cone's playing really, really good football right now, right?
Yeah.
If you're second, if you can get past the other side, the other team, I guess that's Region 6-3A, the Fairview League.
Right.
If you get past the Fairview, if you win this game, you don't have to play a Pearl Cone if everything pans out until the quarterfinals.
Right.
So that's a lot better than that second round. Of course, these guys I think faced them in the second round and took care of them. So that's not a big deal there for them because they're playing great football. James Moore is their leader, almost 1,300 yards. 21 total touchdowns. Set the school record last year, had 2,200, 2,300 similar yards. Had a great season last year to where everyone got to know this kid, especially in the playoffs, and he's just picked up from there. East Nashville's coming off a 14-0 loss to Pearl Cone. That's the first time they've been shut out since 2017.
But like you said, Pearl
Cone's good. They didn't have a couple bodies. They didn't have their quarterback. They didn't have 2 receivers. They were out for team rules violation, but I think they're back to over at Pearl Cone. So Pearl Cone's back to 100%. But this is East Nashville, and wow, Coach Brian Waite's done a great job there.
Yeah.
Who do you got?
Well, you mentioned all of that with Stratford and what they've done offensively, and I'm looking at their defense. I mean, the past month, teams have just struggled to score against them. I mean, you're talking.
Shut out Sycamore last week.
Right. I don't think they've given up more than 6 points in the past month against any individual team.
He's shaking his head. Yeah.
I mean, they've really been playing lights out. But
oh snap! Here we go.
East Nashville. I gotta tell you, I almost changed my prediction listening to Coach talk. Almost changed it.
Okay.
But I did that last week, and I ended up being wrong. So I'm thinking.
You had?
It was the CPA game.
Okay. We had Brentwood Academy in here last week. Did you change the BA score?
I don't think I changed the BA score.
Okay.
But I feel like my gut was telling me something.
Okay.
My gut's been wrong. Trust me, it's been wrong.
A lot.
Well, a lot. Even up. I mess up the Clarksville scores. And that's where I'm coming from. I'm coming from the Clarksville area. You think I get those right, but. For like last week, I thought Springfield beat Montgomery Central. Montgomery Central beat Springfield.
13-10.
Yeah. So apparently, I don't know much of what I'm talking about. But
But that's why we bring you back every week.
right, to make you look good. So,
Exactly.
But
I went 5-5 last week, so
I feel like I do feel like East Nashville has been playing really, really well. Both defenses have been playing well. Stratford's defense has been playing well for the past month.
I need to score.
East Nashville's shut out 4 teams this year.
Yeah.
I have East Nashville winning 30-21.
Woo, that's a lot of points.
It's a lot of
points.
A lot of points for 2 teams that have been playing well defensively.
I don't think there's that many points.
You're probably right.
I think this is a defensive battle. I think in talking, even Coach Porter kind of talked about, they want to give the ball. They want to feed James more. They want to get him running. They want to get him the ball, play grinded out football. And I think that is something that East Nashville is going to be ready for. I think they got a big defensive line. I think it's going to be – the question is, can they wear them out with the ground and pound, where then at some point you throw something and there's maybe a special team play or a pass that comes out of nowhere and they break something long, or maybe James breaks a long run.
Right.
That's what's going to take. But I'm going to East Nashville 20-14 over Stratford. Coach, I will be there, and hopefully you tell me first words at 20-14. Sorry, not this time.
Is there a back door out of this place? I don't want to walk out with Coach sitting right there.
Yeah. All right, next game, another Thursday night game, 7 p.m. Thursday. Hillsboro 3-4 at Cane Ridge 5-2, and I don't know if there's a Metro Nashville team that has improved the most from early in the season to where they are now in Cane Ridge.
Yeah.
They lost their first 2 games. Didn't look really good at all against Pearl Cone in week 1, which Pearl Cone's really good. Mm-hmm. I mean, they've made a lot of teams not look good. But, they've got their quarterback back, Xavier Clemens. He's back after missing 2 weeks. I think he had a knee issue. And they have not skipped a beat since then, averaging 229 passing yards since going into the lineup. Hillsboro's been banged up. Brian Covington missed their last game against Beach, a loss, 35-21 loss on October 4th. He had not 1 but 2 sprained ankles. They've got to have him in the lineup. He might be one of the top. Well, I'll just say he's one of the top 5, maybe one of the top 3 fastest kids in Metro Nashville.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel pretty confident, and there's some speed in this city right now with East Nashville and Pearl and all those.
Yeah.
Stratford's got some speed, but this Covington kid can fly. But he's going to have to be in that lineup, I think, at some point for them to make a run. Right. They better get him in soon to get him used to and they were off last week, so I think maybe he's healthy. Cane Ridge 28, Hillsboro 21. I just like what Cane Ridge is doing right now with Eddie Woods, and they're going to have to figure out how to run the ball in the playoffs because you got to run the ball to win. I think a state championship, just because of weather. But right now they're fine.
Yeah, and I've picked Hillsboro quite a bit this year in all of my predictions, and most of the time I've been wrong. But I'm gonna stick with Hillsboro because at some point they got to prove me right. Am I correct? I mean, at some point.
Sure.
Now, this may not be the game where they prove me right against Cane Ridge because, like you said, Cane Ridge has been really playing well, and Hillsboro's been banged up. But I feel like, particularly coming off the bye week, getting with the possibility. I don't know if the Covington kid will play, but if there's a possibility that
they got some other athletes. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
The quarterback's been pretty good for them.
Yeah, and if they could get that kid back, if they can get the Covington kid back, I think they beat Cane Ridge 35.
And I think they've had a lineman out too. So one of their best linemen's been out with some injuries too.
And like I said, but 35-31, okay. Hillsboro.
Okay.
You got to help me out, Hillsboro. I'm trying. I'm trying to get you. Yeah,
he needs a win, guys. Page 6-1, 2-0 in Region 5-5A. At Columbia, 5-2, 2-1. It's a 7 p.m. Friday game. I call it the Cade and Bubba Show.
Yeah,
that's what I like calling this. This is the Cade and Bubba Show. Cade Walker, Bubba Johnson, Page quarterback, running back combination. Cade's thrown for almost 1,200 yards. Bubba's ran for 656 yards plus 11 rushing touchdowns. Page, I think, really missed him a year ago. Last year, Bubba was at Spring Hill, came back this year. I like this Page team. I think they're better are really they're better, or if not equal to where they were a year ago when they won that first region like a couple decades. I go Page 24-14 over Columbia.
And I have Page winning this one as well. I got them beating Columbia 35-20.
One of the surprises in this area, especially in Rutherford County, Stewart's Creek 6-1 at Lebanon 4-3. Stewart's Creek has never been 6-1. Burt Brown, first-year coach, has done a wonderful job there. They've got a running back, Amari Jelks, has rushed for 1,171 yards going into this week. They're ranked in the AP poll at number 10. I believe it's the first time they've been ranked in school history. Best start school history, but they face a really good Lebanon team, and I think Stewart's Creek's got to be worried of a major upset alert because I think Lebanon with Chuck Gentry's done a great job there. I think this is a game that could go down the wire, and I'm picking Stewart's Creek to win 21-20.
Okay. Well,
That's a coin flip game in my world.
yeah. And I had out of the picks that out of the games that you have that were picking, I had a couple of games that I felt were toss-ups. I think this was probably one of them. But I feel like Stewart's Creek's kind of been through the battle as well. They kind of been through the wars this year. I think they've already beaten Mount Juliet. They've played Cane Ridge within 10 points.
Yep.
I feel like this is going to be a little bit more on Stewart's Creek side. I got them winning 28-13.
This is to me. This is a game that I need to see Stewart's Creek win to really see how good this team is.
Right.
So that's my take on that. Again, you're watching the Bootleg presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Thanks for joining us. We got a few more games to go over. Battle of the Borough. I spent 6-7 years down there covering Murfreesboro High School sports.
I've seen your head. They hold your.
There's been fat heads.
Yeah.
There's been fat head signings. How many years have I made you call me when you get to the state tournament?
Right.
Basketball, say, hey, I'm checking in to Rutherford County, all that good stuff.
The mayor
of the county here. Riverdale 5-2, 3-1 in Region 3 6A. Oakland 7-0, 4-0. They are about a 20-game win streak, something like that.
Just say the score.
I think they keep it close. I mean,
Really?
Here's the thing. Oakland has won 7 straight Battle of the Boroughs. At some point, that streak's got to end because Riverdale has owned the series overall.
It's not going to end this year. Not this year.
Oakland 34, Riverdale 14 is what I have.
I have Oakland 48, Riverdale 10.
Woo!
Oakland has
Hear that,
been
Coach Kreisky?
lighting it up. Lighting it up.
Oakland, Riverdale, they've had some good contests.
Yeah,
and you got to remember, I know they beat Blackman, and I know Riverdale lost to Blackman, but that came on the last, 10 seconds. Riverdale really looked good for about half or 2/3 of that game against Blackman. I think that's a great game. I think that could be a blowout because Creasy has a whole extra week to plan on, or it could be a good game. I'm thinking somewhere in between.
Nobody's played them close yet.
Eventually, someone will. Portland 4-4, 3-1 in Region 5, 4-3A they're at Springfield 4-3, 2-1. Springfield coming off the 13-10 loss to Montgomery Central, and if they want to stay in the hunt for the region,
absolutely,
both teams got to win this game. And my big question is, Caleb Mandrell, will he play for Portland? Because he got he only played for a half.
Yep.
There was a report out there that there's some sort of hand injury. All I know is that he was not seen at all after halftime in what was a close game at half.
Close game. It was, granted, both teams were playing in kind of cold, wet weather.
So everyone was playing cold, wet weather.
And that had a little bit of effect on – I think my photographer is asking me why there were so many fumbles in that game. I said, well, you got to remember, all of these teams have been playing in hot, warm, dry weather all year long, and then bam, it's it's 50 degrees and it's raining.
And I don't know about you, but I had that's the NBA. It was sideways rain.
Yeah. I mean, it was coming in. It was coming in sideways. It was pouring. It was drizzle. It was regular. I mean, it was a mess. It was a kind of a muddy mess in that game. But I felt like Springfield, which is the reason why I picked them last week. has a little bit more speed than Montgomery Central.
Mm-hmm.
But what Montgomery Central was able to do is what they've been able to do all year, which is another sort of similar to probably Stratford in the fact that they got a 235, 240-pound running back that they can give the ball to. He carried the ball 41 times.
Yeah, close to well, I guess it's what about 15, 16 carries away from a state record.
Right, and they had
tell Coach what that record is. You can give him another 20 carries.
Yeah,
break that thing.
Well, they had 2 drives. Their 2 scoring drives were over 8.5 minutes long. So, including going into the fourth quarter. So, that's how they were able to win. But Springfield's lost 2 straight, and Portland's lost 3 or 4. I do feel like Springfield gets back on the winning side here because they really need this game. I have them beating Portland 28-24.
20-7. I've got Springfield beating Portland this week. I think it'll be an interesting game there up at Springfield. About 2 or 3 more games, folks. Summit 7-1, 2-1 in Region 5A at Shelbyville, which is 6-1, 1-1. If either of these teams won a home playoff game, they're both trailing. Everyone's trailing Page. They gotta win this week.
Yeah.
The interesting thing here is I think you have 2 of the more interesting quarterbacks to it. I mean that league has got some really good quarterbacks. You've got Cade Walker. You've got Destin Wade at Summit. You got Cade Cunningham at Shelbyville. 3 really good quarterbacks. You're gonna see 2 of those 3 in the same game with Destin Wade, 134.6 yards a game passing with 12 touchdowns. Cade Cunningham, 178.6 yards passing, 11 touchdowns. Summit went from that page, or Summit went from the wing tee to the spread this year, and I like this Summit team a lot. I'm gonna go Summit 28-21 over Shelbyville.
Yeah, and this was also one of those toss-up games that I kind of felt like it could go either way, and I like Summit as well. Like you said, their 1 losses to Page, and we all know what Page has been doing this year. They've been outstanding. Shelbyville's won 4 straight. They've been on a roll here the past month or so. I always like to kind of I feel like I kind of always feel like I have to pick one that's a little outside the box, and maybe so I have Shelbyville winning 24-20. Close game.
Let's go over to Region 4-4A. Maplewood 3-5, 2-1 in Region 4-4A. They're at Nolensville 7-0, 3-0. Maplewood is down this year.
Yeah,
so, they went to the semifinals last year.
Right.
They had Bobo Hodges, and they had all these receivers, and they had all these linemen, and and they graduated everyone. Everybody graduated.
And their schedule has been rough.
Yes, they opened the season up with Hillsborough.
They played Hillsborough. They played East Nashville. They played Pearl Cone. They played Marshall County. They played Mount Juliet.
Yeah.
Whew,
Maplewood 3-5, Nolensville 7-0. Nolensville has not been tested. I know I've had people saying, "Why aren't we ranked in the mid-state poll?" I'm waiting for that signature win.
Right.
And I'm really looking, to be honest with you, I'm looking kind of that Marshall County game, week 11, because I kind of think Marshall County might be that best team in 4-4A. Sorry, folks, but I kind of do. I mean, I've seen them play a couple times.
Yeah.
But I think this is a step in the right direction. If I'm Nolensville, I see a big game from Tim Kutris and Ryder Gallardi, their quarterback. I got to see something. And if I'm Maplewood, I'm thinking, man, this could be a big upset, because we're 3-5, and they're looking 3-5. They're 7-0. No one's thinking about us.
Right.
There's some talent on that Maplewood team. There might be some young talent. They got some talent. I think this is a coin flip game. I'm gonna go Nolensville, but I'm gonna go Nolensville 28-27 over Maplewood. I just think this could be closer than a lot of people think.
I kind of agree with you there. I have my score a little bit more lopsided, but I wonder how much of playing a difficult schedule it can go 2 ways really with me. It can really make you a better team, but if you're losing, it can not only bang you up, but it can also cause a lot of frustration where you towards the end of the year. You just have coaches and players that are, because I've seen it, up in Clarksville. You play a brutal schedule, and even though you have talent, that the frustration starts to show because you're not quite as talented as the teams that you're playing, and you're racking up all these losses, and then the frustration starts. So I don't, that I don't know that that's been happening to Maplewood, but I know I looked at their schedule and it was brutal.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I have Knowlesville beating them 38-17.
Okay. Last game, and this is your game, so I'm gonna let you talk about it more. Waverly 4-3, 3-0 in Region 6-2A at Houston County 7-0, 3-0. Houston County's trying to get the first undefeated regular season since 1977.
Yes, I mean it's a long time.
Were you born before then?
Yeah, I was 4. Yeah, 4 years old.
You're that old? Okay. All right. Side note. I was only 2.
Oh wow. Okay.
Let's talk about this game though.
Well, I mean, obviously Houston County's having a great year. The great thing about what Houston County is doing is they're doing it with not a lot of kids. Mm-hmm. They dress maybe 30 kids, mm-hmm. Which it's a 2A school, so they're not going to have a ton of numbers. Mm-hmm. But I've seen that school only dress 19 to 20 kids. Mm-hmm. So to have 30 kids, they're mm-hmm. thinking, our roster is big, is gigantic. But the guys that they have a great offensive line that can move move the line of scrimmage. Mm-hmm. They got a running back and they got 2 running backs actually, yeah. Jay Sean Wilson and Noah Black, mm-hmm. who together have run I think over 1,200 yards this year, mm-hmm. and have also scored close to 20 touchdowns combined. So you're looking
at the quarterback. Is that related to the coach?
Yes. That's okay. Andrew Meadow. That's his son.
Okay.
So Andrew Meadow he's been playing well. They don't throw the ball a lot, yeah. but he's very efficient when he throws it. Mm-hmm. He doesn't. There's not a lot of incompletions. Now they're not gonna bomb it downfield. Mm-hmm. They throw a lot of intermediate, high percentage passes. But what they do so well is the receivers do such a great job blocking downfield, mm-hmm. that those short passes turn into long gains, mm-hmm. yards after the catch, obviously.
Yak.
Yeah. And
yak.
And they've been they've been playing well under Coach Meadow. Ever since Coach Meadow took over the program, the Houston County has just continuously gotten better. And mm-hmm. Obviously when you're in a small community like that, you get some talented kids that come through the program. You can ride this for a few years. Mm-hmm. From what I understand, what's coming up through the middle school ranks there in Houston County, they're going to be good. They could be good for the next 3 or 4 years. So, mm-hmm. But I do have them beating Waverly. I think this is going to be a really good test. I thought last week was a big test for mm-hmm. Houston County, beating Riverside. I don't think they've beaten Riverside in close to a dozen years. Mm-hmm. They weren't always in the same region, but that was a big win for Houston County, kind of a statement win. I think mm-hmm. this one is going to be another one, and then they're going to have one next week against Stewart County.
That's the game. I think
that's going to be a huge one. That's going to be a huge one. But I do have Houston County beating Waverly 35-14.
Houston County 21-17. That's a great community there. Of course, I spent a day up there when we did something on Jeffrey Cox. I know you went up there already. Great community there in Aaron, Tennessee there, and a great season. You see these guys when you're a team going for a perfect season for the first time in really a generation.
Yeah.
77. I mean, 1977 was the last time they went 10-0.
Yeah.
I think they got to the second round of the playoffs that year.
Right.
Big achievement so far. If they can finish that 10-0 season, that would be something that those kids will remember. And
I've put in a call to the AD and the coach. I said, find me some of the guys that played on that 77 team. So hopefully, they can do that, and that'll make for a cool story if we can get Houston County to 10-0 at the end of the regular season.
Well, George, short notice.
Always.
Appreciate you always coming through. Week 9 is here, folks. We're heading to the playoffs. Big game Thursday. Stratford at East Nashville.
Can I change my the Stratford East Nashville? Can I change my?
There's a trap door somewhere. There's a trick door somewhere around here. Want to thank our coach coming in here, Coach Thomas Porter, in his first full season as the head coach at Stratford. He's got him off to a 5-2 start, playing a huge game Thursday night at 7:00 over at East Nashville. Plan on being over there. Great games for second place in Region 5-3A. Should be a packed house. Come over, see me on the sideline, say hello. This has been the Bootleg presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans. We'll see you next week.